The era of Northern and Southern dynasties, 420 to 589, a nation divided. Imagine a time when China was divided into two distinct regions, the North and the South. This was an era of political strife, cultural divergence, and constant warfare, where both sides vied for dominance over a fractured land. Yet, amid the chaos, we witness the remarkable resilience of a civilization striving to find unity. The Sui Dynasty, 581 to 618, reunification after centuries of division. After centuries of turmoil and division, the Sui Dynasty rose to power, reuniting China once again under a single banner. It was a time of bold reforms, grand construction projects, and the return of centralized rule. But even this ambitious dynasty couldn't avoid the pitfalls of overexpansion and internal unrest. Join us as we journey through these pivotal chapters of Chinese history, exploring the conflicts, conquests, and cultural shifts that shaped an empire. Don't miss out on more captivating stories from the past. Subscribe to Captivating History, now to dive deeper into the fascinating world of ancient China. The history of the Sui Dynasty. The rise and unification of China. In 577, the northern Zhou defeated the northern Qi, thus unifying the northern region of China and ushering in a period of prosperity. However, Emperor Zan of northern Zhou fell into a life of decadence, indulging in luxury and pleasure, even to the point of having 5 empresses simultaneously. The political system became increasingly corrupt, which allowed the powerful official Yang Jian to seize control of the court. Yang Jian began consolidating his power by removing important northern Zhou generals from the capital. On June 8, 580, Emperor Zan died of illness, and Yang Jian helped the young Yuwen Chan ascend the throne as Emperor Jing of northern Zhou. Yang Jian became the Grand Chancellor, serving as regent for the young emperor. However, key military leaders such as Yu Qiyun, Sima Xiaonan, and Wang Qian were dissatisfied with Yang Jian's control and conspired to rebel. Despite their efforts, Yang Jian swiftly suppressed the rebellion with the help of loyal generals like Wei Shaoquan, Wang Yi, and Gao Ying. On March 4, 581, Emperor Jing of northern Zhou abdicated the throne in favor of Yang Jian, who then ascended as Emperor Wen of the newly founded Sui Dynasty. After taking power, Emperor Wen of Sui aimed to eliminate the southern Chen, the last remaining dynasty in the south. He pursued a strategy of undermining the agricultural and military strength of the southern Chen, which weakened it significantly. In 587, after defeating the Gokturks, Emperor Wen deposed Emperor Shao of western Liang, thus bringing an end to the state of western Liang. In 588, Emperor Wen launched an offensive against the southern Chen, appointing Yang Guang, Yang Jun, and Yang Su as commanders of an army of 518,000 soldiers. Divided into 8 forces, the Sui army swiftly captured many defensive strongholds of the Chen, and on February 10, 589, the Sui forces entered the capital city of Jiankang, capturing Emperor Chen Shubao, thereby ending the southern Chen dynasty. By September 590, the remaining lords of the southern Chen had either been defeated or surrendered, and China was officially unified under the Sui dynasty. The reign of Kaiwang. After unifying the country, Emperor Wen of Sui initiated numerous significant reforms. Politically, he abolished the 6 ministries of the northern Zhou and formally established the 3 departments and 6 ministries system, laying the foundation for China's long-term administrative structure. The imperial court also eliminated the prefecture-level administrative units and established a 2-tier system of counties and districts. To prevent rebellion from local powers, Emperor Wen abolished the 9-rank system of official appointments, replacing it with the imperial examination system, which ensured the fair selection of talented individuals. Economically, the court reduced punishments and labor obligations, implemented the equal field system to redistribute land, and increased population control, which, in turn, strengthened the state's tax revenue. Emperor Wen's policies of frugality allowed the state to amass a large reserve of wealth. Grain stores in Chang'an and Luoyang were filled with millions of bushels. While industries such as shipbuilding also thrived, trade in Luoyang flourished, making it the Sui Dynasty's largest commercial center. In 584, to improve the transportation of goods to Guangzhou, Emperor Wen ordered the construction of the Guangtong Canal, marking the beginning of a series of major canal building projects. This network of canals eventually became part of the famous Grand Canal, which facilitated the rapid development of economic and trade relations between northern and southern China. Thanks to these reforms, the Sui dynasty experienced a period of prosperity known as the Reign of Kaiwan. The population increased from 4 million to over 8 million households, and wealth accumulated significantly, enough to sustain the empire for 50 to 60 years. Additionally, the construction of the city of Daxing, modern-day Chang'an, reflected the economic and technical strength of the Sui dynasty. The decline of Emperor Wen and the rise of Yang Guang. Although Emperor Wen achieved significant accomplishments during the early years of his reign, he became increasingly suspicious of and distant from his founding generals, leading to the execution of many loyalists. He also adopted harsher policies, abandoning the governing without intervention philosophy that had previously contributed to his successful rule. Initially, Emperor Wen had appointed his eldest son, Yang, as crown prince, but due to Yang's extravagant lifestyle, he gradually lost his father's favor and was replaced by Yang Guang. Later, in 604, Yang Guang launched the Ren Shou Palace coup, forcing Emperor Wen's death and quickly ascending the throne as Emperor Yang of Sui. The reign of Emperor Yang and the fall of the Sui dynasty. During the early years of Emperor Yang's reign, the empire remained strong. However, Yang Guang soon fell into a life of excess and embarked on massive construction projects such as the eastern capital of Luoyang and the Grand Canal, as well as costly military campaigns. These projects, while economically and culturally beneficial to the nation, placed a heavy burden on the people, leading to widespread dissatisfaction due to the prolonged forced labor. The wars against Goguryeo in particular drained a significant portion of the Sui's resources, causing the empire to weaken substantially. Finally, in 618, widespread rebellions and internal strife erupted across the country, leading to the collapse of the Sui dynasty. The turmoil and fall of the Sui dynasty. By the later years of Emperor Yang of Sui's reign, the Sui dynasty had fallen into severe decline and political instability due to wars that consumed enormous manpower and resources. In the 6th year of the Dai era, 610, uprisings began to break out as a result of opposition to military conscription under the fubbing system. Although the Sui forces quickly suppressed the revolts, the underlying tension remained. In the 7th year of the Dai era, 611, a series of floods struck the middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, inundating over 40 prefectures. This worsened the already tense situation, leading to Wang Bo's uprising at Mount Changbai, sparking a large-scale rebellion. Wang Bo's uprising became famous for his rallying cry, the song of the wastrel who refuses to go to Liaodong. However, the rebellions in Yu Prefecture, Ji Prefecture, Yan Prefecture, and other regions were swiftly crushed by the Sui court. From 613 onward, other rebellions began to erupt. Lu Yuanjun occupied Wu Commandery and declared himself emperor, but he too was swiftly eliminated by the Sui court within the same year. That same year, Yang Xuangan, the son of the powerful official Yang Su, raised a rebellion in Liang, further destabilizing the empire. High-ranking officials and local governments across the country began rebelling one after another, leading to the irreversible decline of the dynasty, the rise of regional warlords and the collapse of the Sui dynasty. During this period, numerous rebel forces emerged across China, from Hebei and Henan to Zhongwei and other remote regions. The Wagang Army. This was one of the most powerful rebel forces in Henan, led by Jai Rang with the support of Li Mi. In 617, the Wagang army captured the grain depot at Xingla near Luoyang. Afterward, Jai Rang ceded leadership to Li Mi, who declared himself Duke of Wei and established his base in Lankou. However, internal conflicts arose within the Wagang army, leading Li Mi to kill Jai Rang, and he eventually submitted to Prince Yang Tong of Yu. Do Jiande. In Hebei, Do Jiande led a rebellion that seized control of many areas in Ji Prefecture. In 618, he declared himself king of Sha and founded the state of Sha. Du Fuwei and Fu Gongxi, in the Zhongwei region. Du Fuwei and Fu Gongxi led a rebellion in Qi Commandery in 613. Advancing southward, by 617, they had occupied Gaobu, severing the link between Emperor Yang of Sui and the northern regions. Li Yuan, in Jinzhou. Li Yuan, who would later establish the Tang Dynasty, launched a rebellion in Taiyuan and quickly captured Chang'an by the end of 617. On December 18 of that year, Li Yuan installed Emperor Gong of Sui as a puppet ruler while demoting Yang Guang to the title of retired emperor. Other rebellions also erupted across the country, including those led by Shao Xian in the south, Lu Wuzhou in Hebei, Liang Shidu in Shuofeng, and many other warlords who declared themselves kings in opposition to the Sui dynasty. The fall of the Sui dynasty. Amidst the chaos engulfing the country, Emperor Yang of Sui retreated to Jiangdu and began constructing a new palace in Danyang, preparing to move the capital southward. However, many officials and soldiers who hailed from Guanzhong were unwilling to remain in the south and gradually fled back to their hometowns. The food supply in Jiangdu also became depleted, further deepening public discontent. On April 11, 618, generals such as Yu Wenwahi, Sima Dekan, and Pei Qiantong staged a coup and assassinated Emperor Yang of Sui, installing Yang Hao on the throne. However, Yu Wenwahi soon killed Yang Hao and declared himself Emperor of Shu. A few months later, on June 16, Li Yuan in Chang'an forced Emperor Gong of Sui to abdicate, establishing the Tang Dynasty. On June 25, Wang Shishang, the governor of Luoyang, deposed Yang Tong and declared the establishment of the state of Zheng, officially marking the end of the Sui dynasty. The territory and administrative system of the Sui dynasty. The Sui dynasty implemented several significant administrative reforms, including the abolition of the three-tier system of prefectures, commanderies, counties from the Han dynasty, replacing it with a two-tier system of prefectures and counties. Although this system streamlined the government structure, by the reign of Emperor Yang, managing nearly 200 administrative units became increasingly difficult. To oversee the prefectures, the Sui dynasty established supervisory prefectures and appointed Cishi, governors, to manage these areas. In the north, the Sui dynasty engaged in numerous wars with the Gokturks and Goguryeo, aiming to expand its borders northward and northeastward. In the south, the Sui launched a campaign against the kingdom of Lam Ap, Champa, establishing three commanderies, Baiseng, Shangpu, and Haiyan to control the region. However, after a series of uprisings and unrest, the Sui's control gradually weakened, and the country eventually fell into the hands of rebel forces. Conclusion. Thus, the fall of the Sui dynasty was an inevitable process as central power weakened and various regional warlords rose up. From mismanagement in politics, economics, and military affairs, the Sui could no longer maintain stability, eventually collapsing after a series of internal rebellions and uprisings across the country. The fall of the Sui paved the way for the rise of the Tang Dynasty, which would become one of the most prosperous and enduring dynasties in Chinese history. Military system of the Sui dynasty. The funerary figurines of warriors from the Sui dynasty symbolized the military strength of this era. The Sui military system inherited organizational models from the Western Wei and Northern Zhou dynasties, particularly the 12 general system. This system established a hierarchical military structure, with various guard divisions responsible for protecting the imperial palace and territories, led by military officials such as superior commanders, military officers, and other officials overseeing the defense forces. The defense forces were organized to patrol and protect the capital, with each force led by a Shang Dafu, senior Grand Master. In the early Sui period, the dynasty continued to follow the military model of the Northern Zhou. During the reign of Emperor Wen of Sui, the military system was reformed, and the 12 guards were established, which would later become the precursor to the 16 guards. The 12 guards included divisions such as the Left-Right Wing Guard, Left-Right Cavalry Guard, Left-Right Martial Guard, Left-Right Camp Guard, Left-Right Rear Guard, and left, right Imperial Guard. These divisions primarily had two functions. The internal guards were responsible for protecting the imperial palace, while the external guards engaged in warfare. Military command during wartime. When war broke out, the emperor would appoint generals as campaign marshals or campaign commanders-in-chief to lead the military. For instance, during the war to conquer the southern Tang Dynasty, due to the scale of the conflict, Yang Guang, Yang Jun, and Yang Su were appointed as campaign marshals, with Yang Guang serving as the supreme commander. After the war ended, the title of campaign commander-in-chief was abolished, and the military reverted to the control of local commanders. Expansion of the military system. In the third year of the Dai era, 607, Emperor Wen of Sui expanded the 12 guards into the guard division system to strengthen the military and decentralize the power of the generals. The guard division system consisted of 12 guards and 4 divisions, collectively referred to as the 16 guards or 16 divisions. Among these, the left, right imperial bodyguard divisions were responsible for protecting the emperor, while the left, right gate guard divisions managed the palace gates. The military forces of the 12 guards were responsible for external defense, including the cavalry guards belonging to the left, right wing guard, leopard cavalry belonging to the left, right cavalry guard, mighty guards belonging to the left, right martial guard, forest guards belonging to the left, right camp guard, sharp shooting guards belonging to the left, right imperial guard, and phoenix guard belonging to the left, right rear guard. Meanwhile, the left, right wing guard also managed the inner guards, a force directly controlled by the imperial family. Territorial military command. Emperor Wen of Sui divided the entire nation into military zones, appointing commanders-in-chief responsible for military affairs in each region. During peacetime, they were tasked with border defense, and during wartime, they were ordered to command the military forces. The commander-in-chief offices were divided into 3 levels: upper, middle, and lower. In strategic locations such as Jingzhou, Yangzhou, and Yizhou, Emperor Wen stationed key generals to oversee security. For example, Prince Yang Guang guarded Jingzhou, Prince Yang Jun guarded Yangzhou, and Prince Yang Shu protected Yizhou. Overall, the Sui Dynasty established 30 to 50 command offices, dividing the entire territory into 4 major military zones: east, west, south, and north, with the capital Chang'an as the central hub. These military zones were tasked with defending the borders, especially in the northern and northwestern regions to counter the threat of the Gokturks and Khitan. In the southeastern regions, military command offices were stationed in critical areas like Diezhou to counter the Tuyuhun. Military reforms. The Sui Dynasty implemented several reforms in the defense force system, integrating the rank systems of the northern Zhou and combining civil and military officials into a unified hierarchy. In 590, the imperial court issued an order allowing military households to be incorporated into civilian households. This meant that soldiers, besides their military duties, could also receive land through the equal field system, were exempt from taxes, and had the right to live with their families. This system helped reduce the economic burden on the central government and expanded the pool of military recruits for the dynasty. Population of the Sui Dynasty. The population management and registration system of the Sui Dynasty saw significant development. After prolonged periods of war and turmoil during the 16 kingdoms and northern and southern dynasties, nomadic and agricultural peoples in China gradually merged, forming a blended culture with the Han people playing the dominant role, creating the new Han ethnic group. Due to the impact of war and heavy taxation from previous dynasties, many people concealed their household registrations to avoid financial and military obligations. However, by the Sui Dynasty, due to lighter taxes and reduced labor services, people began to declare their household registrations to establish independent households. The imperial court also conducted regular household inspections to ensure accurate population counts. Increasing tax revenue. Population growth. In the 5th year of the Kaiwang era, 585, Emperor Wen of Sui ordered a nationwide household registration review. Extended family members, such as cousins, were required to separate their registrations. Thanks to this reform, the number of registered households in the north increased by over 1.64 million. Demographic expansion. Due to favorable tax and labor policies, the population of the Sui dynasty grew rapidly. According to the Sui Shu geography treatise, the total number of households reached 9.073.926 at the height of the Sui dynasty, nearly restoring the number of households from the Eastern Han period. 4 centuries earlier, by 613, the population of China had reached 44.5 million, an increase of more than 17 million people in 26 years. This population growth provided the government with a large labor force and increased income, fostering economic and social development. Due to the rapid growth in population and agricultural land, Sui agriculture achieved significant progress, and the granaries of the imperial court were filled to the brim, enough to sustain the state for many years. However, due to later wars and rebellions, the population began to decline during the final years of the Sui dynasty. As we've explored, the Sui dynasty's rise to power and eventual fall were marked by ambitious reforms and relentless military campaigns. Despite the Sui's efforts to unify China and create lasting institutions, internal strife, excessive demands on the people, and military failures ultimately led to their downfall. However, the legacy of the Sui would pave the way for one of the most prosperous and culturally vibrant eras in Chinese history. We'll dive into the magnificent era of the Tang Dynasty, 618–907. Often hailed as one of the most prosperous periods in China's history. Known for its flourishing economy, vibrant cultural achievements, and military might, the Tang Dynasty established China's capital, Chang'an, as one of the largest and most influential cities in the world at the time. Join us as we explore the golden age of Chinese civilization, where trade, art, and innovation thrived. Make sure to subscribe and follow for more captivating history.